Imagine this. You've been chasing success your whole life, always pushing harder, running faster, trying to get ahead, believing that once you reach that next milestone, everything will finally make sense. But what if I told you that the very path you're on, the one you think you need to escape, is exactly the one you were meant to walk all along? What if every detour, every moment of frustration, every pause in your life is part of a greater, invisible plan that's been unfolding since the very beginning? You're not lost. You're exactly where you need to be. But understanding this truth might just change everything. If this idea has sparked something deep within you, if you're ready to discover the wisdom that lies hidden in every moment, don't forget to hit that subscribe button on Buddhism in every moment. Your support will help us continue creating meaningful content that inspires and awakens. Stay tuned, because what you'll learn next might just transform the way you see your life forever. In the rush of modern life, there's a feeling that pervades every step you take, the feeling of never quite being enough. No matter how much you achieve, how many goals you tick off your list, or how many hours you pour into work or self-improvement, it always feels as if you're a step behind. You look around and see others who seem to have it all together, living lives filled with excitement, success, and joy. They seem so far ahead, so much further along, while you remain stuck in a cycle of doubt and dissatisfaction. We're taught from a young age that life is about constant progress, about climbing the ladder higher, achieving more, doing better. We're measured by how fast we can get there, how many milestones we can reach, and how many boxes we can check. The more we do, the more we feel we should be doing. But in this constant pursuit of progress, we lose sight of the most important truth of all. The present moment is enough. The pursuit of perfection has become a silent, invisible force in our lives. It's insidious, woven into the fabric of society, from the pressure to appear flawless on social media, to the expectation of success by certain ages, to the relentless comparison between our lives and others. We've been taught that we need to constantly improve, to strive for the next big thing, the next promotion, the next achievement. But what if this drive, this perpetual need to be better, is the very thing keeping us from experiencing true peace? We are often so focused on the next that we forget to appreciate the now. And yet, the now is all we truly have. The future is always out of reach, and the past is already gone. All of our energy spent on wishing for a different moment, a different life, is ultimately wasted because life is always happening right here, right now. Buddhist wisdom offers us a radical, life-changing perspective on this truth. The teachings emphasize the power of just being. In Buddhism, peace and fulfillment don't come from doing more or being someone else. They come from fully experiencing and embracing the moment you're in as it is. Just being is not about striving or performing. It's about slowing down enough to recognize the beauty, the lessons, and the peace in the present. When we stop chasing the next big thing, when we stop pushing ourselves to meet the unrelenting standards of society, we discover that the peace we've been searching for was never in the future. It was always here, waiting for us to notice it. As we begin to let go of comparison and self-judgment, we make room for a new emotional shift. The need to be better dissipates, and with it, the pressure that comes with it. We stop measuring ourselves against the lives of others and begin to understand that our journey is uniquely our own. We realize that we don't have to be anywhere else to be worthy of peace. We are enough, exactly as we are right now. This shift in perspective isn't just a mental exercise. It's a deep emotional and spiritual change. When we let go of the idea that we need to be somewhere else, doing something else, we can finally begin to embrace the beauty and lessons that this moment holds. It is through this acceptance that true transformation happens. Not in the future, not when we have everything we think we need, but here in the present, where life is unfolding exactly as it should. Now, take a moment to reflect. Allow yourself to settle into this moment. Close your eyes if you can, breathe deeply, and bring your awareness to the sensations in your body. Feel the weight of your body as it rests, the rise and fall of your chest with each breath, the stillness of the air around you. In this very moment, without needing to change anything or become anyone else, just be. Notice how it feels to release the need to be somewhere else. Feel the peace that arises when you simply allow yourself to exist in the present. This is your life, right here, right now, and it is enough. You are enough. There is a lingering belief that many of us carry, tucked in the quiet corners of our minds, that we are somehow lost. We look at others and think they have it figured out. At least, that's what it seems. We compare our lives to theirs, and somewhere along the way, we convince ourselves that we are off track, that we are behind, that we missed our opportunity to be something more. We feel the weight of this belief pressing down like a burden, convincing us that our journey is flawed. But what if this belief, this feeling of being lost, is an illusion? What if, instead of being lost, we are exactly where we need to be, guided by forces we cannot always understand? This is where the profound concept of karma enters. For centuries, karma has been misunderstood as some sort of cosmic punishment, something that delivers judgment for wrongdoings or rewards for good actions. In reality, karma is not about payback or reward. It is not a force that seeks to trap us or punish us for mistakes we've made. Instead, karma is the precise unfolding of life itself, a mathematical accuracy in the dance of cause and effect. It is not based on emotion or morality. It is rooted in the simple truth that everything we do, think, and feel has consequences, ripples that stretch far beyond what we can immediately see. The essence of karma is not about being punished or rewarded for actions. It is about the unfolding of our lives in the exact order they need to take place for our growth and understanding. Every decision we've made, every word spoken, every thought, no matter how fleeting, contributes to the complex, intricate web of our existence. Karma is the silent force that shapes our path, not as a judge, but as a guide. It is the quiet, unrelenting teacher that brings us back to the lessons we need to learn, no matter how many times we try to run away from them. We might feel that we are stuck in patterns, that our lives keep circling back to the same struggles or conflicts, but this isn't a sign that we are doing something wrong. This is karma's way of bringing us the lessons we need. Lessons that remain hidden beneath the surface, buried by fear, pride, or the desire to control. The more we resist, the more the patterns return, but once we stop running, once we truly face the challenges and emotions we've been avoiding, we begin to see the beauty in these cycles. They are not here to harm us. They are here to help us grow, to push us towards something deeper, something more meaningful. It's important to understand that karma doesn't work based on our intentions alone. It works based on our attention. What we give our energy to, what we focus on, grows. The patterns that continue to appear in our lives are there because we have not yet given ourselves the space to fully meet them. Karma invites us to stop avoiding, to stop running, and instead, to embrace the journey as it unfolds before us. Acceptance, rather than resistance, is the key to unlocking the wisdom that karma offers. When we finally stop fighting the direction our lives are taking and embrace where we are, we begin to understand that the journey, with all its twists and turns, is not a mistake. The delays, the setbacks, the challenges we face, they are not failures. They are part of the process of unfolding, part of the karmic precision that shapes our lives. This journey is not random. It is exactly as it should be, with every moment and every experience contributing to the person we are becoming. Every struggle, every setback, every quiet moment of stillness is a teacher, a step in the evolution of who we are. Reflect for a moment. Think back to the decisions you've made, the paths you've chosen. It's easy to look at the places where we feel we've gone wrong, where we feel we should have done things differently. But what if those very choices, those moments of uncertainty, were exactly what you needed to grow? What if the detours were not detours at all, but precisely the experiences you needed to develop a deeper understanding of yourself? Every action, every choice has brought you here, and this moment, as imperfect as it may seem, is a reflection of everything that has come before it. Take a moment to reflect on your own journey. Grab a journal and write down a few key moments from your past, decisions, relationships, events that you feel shaped who you are today. What did those moments teach you? How did they bring you to where you are now? Recognize that no part of your life has been in vain. Every choice, every feeling, has led you to this point, and that is where the wisdom of karma lies. You are exactly where you need to be. In our fast-paced world, stillness has become an anomaly. We are taught from an early age to move, to do, to achieve. The value of productivity is ingrained in us. Every moment of rest, every break, every pause feels like something to be avoided, as if inactivity is a sign of failure. We race through our days, checking off tasks, scrolling through social media, meeting deadlines, all the while thinking that the more we do, the closer we get to fulfillment. Yet, in all this motion, we never stop to ask ourselves, when do we truly meet ourselves? The concept of stillness, particularly in Buddhist practice, stands in stark contrast to this cultural obsession. Buddhism teaches that the key to understanding life, to truly connecting with ourselves and the world around us, lies not in constant motion but in stopping, sitting still, being present. In a world that glorifies doing, stopping seems like a radical act. But this stopping is not a mere physical pause. It is an invitation to fully engage with the present moment, without distraction, without the pressure to perform. The importance of sitting still is not just about taking a break. It is about allowing ourselves the space to breathe, to be, and to simply exist without the incessant need to go somewhere or be someone else. Buddhism teaches that when we stop, when we allow ourselves to sit quietly, we create a space for clarity to emerge. This stillness opens the door to deeper understanding, not of the world outside, but of our inner selves. It is in these moments of stillness that we reconnect with the present and begin to see our lives with new eyes, free from the distractions and pressures that constantly pull us away from ourselves. When we slow down, when we allow ourselves to stop, we give ourselves the opportunity to meet who we truly are. We stop running from our feelings, from the discomfort, from the noise. In that pause, we confront the very things we've been avoiding. The power of stillness lies not in escaping life's struggles, but in learning how to embrace them. It's in the stillness that we face the emotions, the thoughts, and the parts of ourselves that we've been too busy to truly acknowledge. We discover that the things we've been running from are often not as daunting as we imagined. In fact, they can become the very doorway to our transformation. But the benefits of stillness go beyond just meeting ourselves more deeply. When we stop and allow ourselves to fully experience the present moment, we gain access to a deeper sense of peace and clarity. We no longer feel the constant pressure to be somewhere else, to be doing something else. We start to appreciate the beauty in the simplest moments. A quiet morning, the sound of birds singing, the feel of a warm cup of tea in our hands. These small, often overlooked moments are where true peace resides. When we slow down enough to notice them, life begins to feel full in a way that constant doing never can. Stillness, however, does not always come naturally. It is something we must practice. In our everyday lives, there are countless opportunities for stillness if we only choose to embrace them. For example, instead of rushing through a meal, we can take a moment to savor each bite, to truly taste the food, to appreciate the nourishment it provides. Instead of zoning out in front of the TV, we can sit in silence for just a few minutes, focusing on our breath, allowing our mind to settle. These small moments of stillness throughout our day can have a profound impact on our emotional and mental well-being. Stillness is not about forcing ourselves into a state of calm or trying to control our thoughts. It is about allowing ourselves to be present with whatever arises, whether it's discomfort, anxiety, or joy. It's about accepting the present moment, just as it is, without judgment or resistance. The more we practice this kind of stillness, the more we begin to notice how much of our lives are spent in a state of rush, worry, and distraction. And when we see that, we begin to understand that true peace does not come from being busy, but from being present. To help integrate this practice of stillness into your life, Take a moment to reflect and engage in a simple exercise of mindful breathing. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths, inhaling deeply through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. As you breathe, focus on the sensation of the air entering and leaving your body. Let go of any thoughts or distractions that come up, gently bringing your attention back to your breath. Do this for just 5 minutes and notice how you feel afterward. Does your mind feel clearer? Do you feel more grounded? This simple exercise is a powerful tool to help you reconnect with the present moment and experience the peace that lies within. In the midst of our chaotic, busy lives, it's easy to forget that stillness is where true transformation happens. The next time you feel the pressure to rush, to keep moving, to achieve more, take a moment to pause. Allow yourself to sit still, not because you have to, but because it's the only place where clarity, peace, and presence can truly emerge. Embrace the power of stillness, and in doing so, you will discover that life as it is enough. There's a relentless pressure that pulses through our lives, often unnoticed but ever present, the drive to improve. It's a force we feel from the moment we wake up to the time our heads hit the pillow at night. We are constantly told to be better, to be more, to do more, and to become the ideal version of ourselves. The world demands it. Social media demands it. Even our own inner voices demand it. We are taught that to be worthy, to be successful, to be loved, we must first shed the person we are today and evolve into someone better. This drive to improve, to chase an idealized self, is ingrained in the fabric of our modern existence. We make New Year's resolutions to be healthier, wealthier, smarter, more disciplined. We compare ourselves to others and see only their achievements, their polished selves, their successes. And in this comparison, we feel inadequate. We feel that there's always something more we should be striving for, always a better version of ourselves waiting to be realized. But what if all of this striving, all of this pushing to become someone else, is the very thing that keeps us from true peace? Buddhist wisdom offers us a perspective that challenges everything we've been taught about self-improvement. The Buddha's teachings remind us that we are already whole, exactly as we are, in this very moment. There is no need to improve ourselves, because the essence of who we are is already complete. The pursuit of a better version of ourselves, the constant striving for perfection, is based on the false belief that we are somehow incomplete, that who we are now is not enough. In Buddhism, the idea of perfection is an illusion. Perfection is not something we achieve or attain through effort or external change. It is a concept built on comparison, on the idea that there is a destination we must reach. But the truth is, perfection is not something to be attained. It is something to be recognized in the present moment. We are not meant to become someone else. We are meant to recognize and embrace who we already are. When we stop chasing perfection and start accepting ourselves as we are, peace begins to settle in. The myth of the better self keeps us in a constant state of longing, of wanting, of never being satisfied with the person we are today. We think that when we achieve a certain goal, when we lose the weight, get the promotion, or find the perfect partner, we will finally be complete. But this is a trap. Perfection is not a goalpost to reach. It is an illusion that keeps us distracted from the truth that we are already whole. Every time we achieve one goal, another emerges. The cycle continues, and we never truly feel at peace with who we are, because we are constantly looking for something more, something better. This constant search for improvement creates an emotional struggle within us. We feel like we are never enough. We feel inadequate, unworthy, and constantly in need of fixing. We think that by becoming someone else, by reaching some future version of ourselves, we will finally find happiness and peace. But the reality is that we cannot find peace by running away from who we are. The peace we seek comes not from becoming someone else, but from accepting who we are right now, in this very moment. The struggle to accept ourselves as we are is one of the most challenging aspects of our journey. We live in a world that constantly tells us we need to change, to improve, to become something more. But true peace comes when we can let go of the need to change and simply accept ourselves as we are. This doesn't mean we stop growing or evolving. It means we stop measuring our worth by how much we've achieved or how far we've come. We stop waiting for the better version of ourselves to emerge and start recognizing the beauty, wisdom, and completeness of the person we are right now. To help facilitate this shift, take a moment to engage in a self-compassion meditation. Find a quiet space where you can sit comfortably, close your eyes, and take a few deep breaths. As you breathe in, bring to mind the idea that you are enough, exactly as you are. With each exhale, release any feelings of inadequacy, any thoughts that you need to change, and simply allow yourself to be. Imagine wrapping yourself in a warm, loving embrace, offering yourself the compassion and kindness you would offer to a dear friend. Let go of any judgment and simply rest in the truth that you are worthy of love and acceptance, exactly as you are. As you continue to breathe, affirm to yourself, I am enough, I am whole, I am deserving of peace just as I am. Allow these words to sink deeply into your being, and when you are ready, slowly open your eyes, carrying with you the quiet, powerful truth that you are not broken, not incomplete, and not in need of improvement. You are exactly where you need to be. You are exactly who you need to be. This shift in perspective, the recognition that you are already whole, can be life-changing. When you stop chasing a better version of yourself and instead embrace the person you are right now, you open the door to true peace. You stop running from yourself and start accepting the beauty and perfection that already exists within you. And in that acceptance, you will find the freedom to truly be yourself. Life is not a polished work of art. It is rough, unpredictable, and filled with contradictions. And yet, it is this very imperfection that holds the deepest beauty. Our culture, driven by ideals of success and perfection, often tells us that we must strive for flawless lives, lives free of mistakes, flaws, and struggles. We are taught that only when everything falls into place, when everything is perfect, will we find true happiness. But what if the true beauty of life lies not in perfection, but in its imperfections? What if life's flaws and difficulties are not obstacles, but opportunities to experience depth, growth, and connection? Buddhist wisdom teaches us that impermanence is not something to fear or resist, but something to embrace. Everything in life is transient, the good, the bad, the joyful, the painful. Nothing lasts forever. This constant ebb and flow, the ever-changing nature of existence, is not something to lament, but something to celebrate. The truth is that impermanence gives life its richness. If everything were static, if everything remained the same, we would never grow. It is through change, through challenges, through the very imperfections of life that we are given the opportunity to evolve. Impermanence is the foundation of all growth. Just as a tree needs to shed its leaves to grow new ones, we too must let go of old ways, old beliefs, and old fears in order to make room for new experiences, new understandings, and new connections. This is not a one-time event, but a continuous process. The impermanence of life teaches us that we are never truly done. We are always in the process of becoming. It is in the messiness, the uncertainty, and the chaos of life that we find the potential for transformation. It is easy to seek peace in the absence of discomfort, to wish for a life free of pain and struggle. But peace does not come from a life devoid of chaos. In fact, the deepest peace comes from being able to remain calm and centered in the midst of that chaos. The Buddhist practice of mindfulness teaches us to find peace not by avoiding discomfort, but by fully experiencing it. When we stop running from uncertainty and discomfort, we begin to understand that they are not the enemies of peace. They are the teachers. It is through discomfort that we learn resilience, and it is through uncertainty that we develop trust. The moments of struggle, of imperfection, are the very things that shape us into the people we are meant to be. Consider the stories of individuals who have found growth in their imperfections. Take, for example, a person who has faced a deep loss. At first, the grief feels like an insurmountable wall. The pain is overwhelming and the future feels uncertain. But through time, that person learns to accept the grief, to sit with it, and in doing so, they find a deeper understanding of themselves and the world around them. The imperfection of life, the unavoidable nature of loss, becomes the catalyst for their personal growth. They discover that through the pain, they have gained wisdom, compassion, and strength they never knew they had. The imperfections of their life have shaped them in ways that perfection never could. Another example could be someone who has faced failure. At the moment, failure feels like the end, like a door closed forever. But over time, they begin to see that failure is not the end of their journey. It is a part of it. In fact, failure often leads to the most profound learning. It is through our mistakes that we learn the most valuable lessons. The person who fails and rises again is stronger, more resilient, and more aware of their true potential. Imperfection has not only shaped their journey, it has enriched it. The beauty of imperfection is that it forces us to be real. When we stop striving for perfection and start accepting our flaws, our struggles, and our fears, we begin to experience life more fully. We are no longer hiding behind the facade of an idealized self. We are free to be ourselves, imperfect and beautiful as we are. This authenticity brings a depth of peace that is unreachable through the pursuit of perfection. When we embrace our imperfections, we find that we are not only at peace with ourselves, but with the world around us. We stop resisting life's challenges and start meeting them with open hearts and minds. To help integrate this wisdom into your daily life, take a moment to practice mindfulness during moments of discomfort. The next time you feel frustrated, anxious, or uncertain, rather than trying to escape these feelings, sit with them. Notice where in your body the discomfort is manifesting. Is it tightness in your chest? A pit in your stomach? Simply observe without judgment. Allow yourself to be present with the feeling, not trying to fix it, but simply allowing it to exist. In doing so, you may begin to notice that the discomfort begins to shift, to soften. By accepting it, you make space for growth and understanding. The imperfection of life is not something to avoid. It is the very fabric that makes life rich, meaningful, and full of potential. Embrace it, welcome it, and through it you will find the deepest peace. Waiting. It's a feeling we all know well. We wait for a call that never comes, for an opportunity that feels just out of reach, for change that never seems to arrive. We wait in lines, in traffic, in silence, in the spaces where we feel like we're not moving forward. There's an overwhelming sense of frustration in waiting, isn't there? The impatience bubbles up, the ticking clock becomes louder, and the feeling of being stuck tightens like a knot in our chest. We've been conditioned to see delays and disruptions as barriers, obstacles that stand between us and our desires, between us and where we think we should be. But what if, instead of seeing waiting as a waste of time, we began to view it as an essential part of our journey? What if every delay, every moment of waiting, had a purpose far greater than we could understand in the moment? This is where Buddhist wisdom offers us a powerful shift in perspective. Life does not unfold according to our deadlines, according to our rigid timelines, or even according to our frantic need for control. Life unfolds when we are ready for it, when the conditions are right, when we have grown enough to fully receive what's coming next. The timing of life is precise, even when it doesn't fit our plans. In Buddhism, the concept of timing is deeply tied to the understanding of patience and preparation. When we are faced with delays, we are not being punished, nor are we being kept from something better. We are being prepared. Every moment of waiting, every disruption, carries with it the opportunity to grow, to learn, to reflect. It is in the pauses that we have the chance to gather our strength, to understand what we are truly ready for, and to see with clearer eyes. What we often perceive as a setback, as a delay in our progress, is actually the universe's way of ensuring that we are fully equipped to handle what is to come. Consider the natural world. A seed does not sprout the moment it is planted. It lies dormant, waiting for the right conditions, light, water, warmth, before it can break through the soil. If the seed were impatient, if it tried to force its way to the surface before it was ready, it would wither and die. It is the stillness, the waiting, the invisible processes happening beneath the surface that prepare it for growth. Similarly, we too need time to grow, to cultivate our inner strength and wisdom before we can fully step into the next phase of our lives. This is the gift of waiting. It is not just a passive experience. It is an active, transformative process. When we stop seeing delays as roadblocks and start viewing them as opportunities for growth, we begin to embrace the wisdom that comes from patience. Patience, in the Buddhist sense, is not just about waiting without complaint. It is about cultivating understanding, surrender, and trust. It is about transforming the frustration of waiting into a deep sense of peace and acceptance. Patience allows us to soften our grip on the future, to stop pushing and striving for outcomes that may not be right for us at this moment. It teaches us that what is meant for us will arrive in its own time, and that we do not need to rush life to make it meaningful. Think of the times in your life when things did not go according to plan, when you were delayed, when you had to wait. Maybe you didn't get the job you wanted, or the relationship you thought would last fell apart. Maybe you had to wait for healing, for understanding, for a breakthrough that seemed to take forever. In those moments, it was easy to feel as though life was moving without you, as though you were being left behind. But now, looking back, can you see how those moments of waiting were crucial? Perhaps you learned something during those times. Perhaps you found strength in your patience or clarity in your uncertainty. Perhaps, just like the seed in the ground, you were growing, preparing for the next chapter in ways that you couldn't see at the time. This is the wisdom of patience. It is not about forcing outcomes, about making things happen before their time. It is about trusting that the right moment will arrive, that the universe or life or karma is guiding you to exactly what you need when you are ready. In Buddhist practice, we are encouraged to embrace the present moment, to stop looking ahead with anxiety and fear, and to trust that everything is unfolding in the exact right way. Delays are not setbacks. They are sacred pauses, invitations to pause and reflect, to rest and prepare for the next step. To truly embrace this shift in perspective, consider a simple exercise. The next time you feel frustrated by a delay, take a moment to pause. Instead of pushing against the waiting, settle into it. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what can I learn in this moment? What is this waiting teaching me? How can I use this time to prepare, to reflect, to grow? Allow yourself to feel the discomfort, the impatience, and then soften into it. Let go of the need to control the outcome and trust that you are exactly where you need to be. In moments of disruption or delay, instead of rushing through them or resisting them, try to embrace them as part of your journey. This is not a passive waiting. It is a waiting that invites growth, understanding, and acceptance. Each delay is an opportunity for self-reflection and transformation. The universe is not holding you back. It is giving you time to align yourself with what is coming next. Trust that your timing is perfect. When you stop fighting the process, you begin to understand that every pause, every delay, every moment of waiting is exactly what you need for your own growth. Life will unfold in its own time, and in that unfolding you will find the clarity, the peace, and the strength to move forward. Delays are not the enemy. They are your teachers, offering you the space to become more than you were before. Embrace the waiting. Let it prepare you, strengthen you, and lead you to the next step of your journey. Part 7. The Deep Lesson of Loneliness. Loneliness. It is a word that evokes a deep sense of unease, perhaps even shame. It's the empty echo in a room that should feel full, the quiet hours in the night when the world sleeps but you remain awake with your thoughts. It's the ache of feeling disconnected, unimportant, as though you're on the outside looking in. In a world that values connection, success, and constant interaction, loneliness can often be seen as a curse, a flaw, or even a sign of failure. We believe that if we are alone, there must be something wrong with us. We push it away, resist it, and try to fill the silence with distractions because we've been taught to fear solitude. But what if loneliness is not a punishment or a sign of something broken within us? What if instead it is an invitation, a doorway to something deeper, something more meaningful? What if solitude could be seen not as something to escape, but as a path to self-discovery, a sacred opportunity to connect with who we truly are. Buddhism offers a radically different perspective on loneliness. In Buddhist teachings, solitude is not seen as an absence, but as a space full of potential. It is in moments of solitude that we are able to listen to the quiet whispers of our inner voice, free from the noise of the world. When we are alone, we are not abandoned. We are given the opportunity to reconnect with ourselves, to understand what lies beneath the surface of our constant busyness, to explore the parts of us that often go unnoticed. Far from being a place of isolation, loneliness in Buddhism is a path to profound self-awareness. In the stillness of solitude, we are given the space to confront our fears, our desires, and our vulnerabilities without the distractions of external expectations. It is only in silence that we can truly hear the voice that guides us, the voice that speaks the truth of who we are, separate from the roles we play, the relationships we hold, or the masks we wear for the world. Loneliness, in this sense, is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced. It is in these moments of quiet that we find clarity, peace, and the deep connection to ourselves that we so often seek elsewhere. Spending time alone is sacred because it allows us to return to our own center. We live in a world that is constantly pushing us to look outside ourselves for validation, for connection, for meaning. Social media tells us that we need to be constantly visible, constantly connected, constantly seen. But in the pursuit of external validation, we lose touch with our own inner truth. Alone time is not a luxury. It is a necessity for spiritual and emotional health. It is a time to step away from the noise and the demands of the world and to reconnect with the quiet, still part of ourselves that often goes unnoticed. When we spend time alone, we create the space to listen to our hearts and our minds without judgment. We begin to understand what we truly want, what we truly need, and what we have been avoiding. Solitude allows us to shed the layers of fear, expectation, and comparison that often define us. It is in solitude that we can hear our true desires, our longings, and our truths. We stop being influenced by the opinions of others and start honoring our own voice. This reconnection with self is not about isolation. It's about integration, integrating all the parts of ourselves that we may have neglected or feared. But how do we begin to cultivate this connection with ourselves, especially when loneliness feels uncomfortable and foreign? Start by simply allowing yourself to be still. This might feel strange at first, but the act of sitting in quiet solitude is a powerful practice. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and allow yourself to feel whatever comes up, whether it's discomfort, sadness, joy, or peace. Don't rush to fill the space with distractions or noise. Allow yourself to sit with the feelings, to observe them without judgment, and to simply be with yourself. As you sit in stillness, ask yourself, what have I been avoiding? What parts of myself have I neglected in my quest for connection with others? Listen to the answers that arise, not with your mind but with your heart. Trust that whatever emotions or thoughts come up are simply invitations to meet yourself more deeply. Another practice that can help deepen this connection with yourself is journaling. Take time each day to write down your thoughts and feelings, especially those that you may have been avoiding. Writing allows us to bring our inner world into the light, to confront the things that we've hidden from ourselves. Write freely and without judgment, letting the words flow without worrying about grammar or structure. Let your heart speak and listen to what it says. Through these practices, you will begin to develop a deeper understanding of who you are. Beyond the roles you play, the relationships you maintain, and the expectations you carry. In the quiet space of solitude, you will find the courage to face your fears and the wisdom to embrace your imperfections. You will learn to trust yourself, to honor your feelings, and to show up for yourself in a way that the world often doesn't. Loneliness, when viewed through the lens of Buddhism, becomes a sacred tool for self-discovery. It is not a sign that something is wrong with you, but a signal that it is time to reconnect with the most important relationship you will ever have, the relationship with yourself. Instead of avoiding it, lean into it. In the quiet of solitude, you will find the answers you've been seeking all along. You will find peace, clarity, and ultimately a deeper connection with the truth of who you are. Embrace loneliness not as a curse but as a gift. Let it be your teacher. When you learn to sit with yourself, to truly listen to the quiet voice within, you will begin to discover the strength, wisdom, and love that already reside inside you. And in that discovery, you will find that you are never truly alone, for you have always been enough. Part 8. Shifting Perception to Find Peace. Life is a constant whirlwind, endless noise, demands, and distractions that push and pull at us from every direction. It feels like we're always running, always striving to get ahead, to catch up, or to simply keep up. There's a persistent sense that something is always just out of reach, that peace, that sense of stillness is something we must earn, something we must chase down. In the midst of all this chaos, it can feel impossible to find a moment of true peace. It seems as if peace is a fleeting thing, something that belongs to others but not to us, not in this moment. But what if peace is not something that must be chased, not something that is waiting for us out there, on the other side of our next achievement, next goal, or next phase of life? What if peace is something that has always been within us, waiting to be uncovered, not through the changing of our external circumstances, but through a profound shift in the way we perceive them? Buddhist wisdom teaches us that peace is not a byproduct of external change. It is not something we gain by acquiring more or by changing our environment. Instead, peace comes from within, through a shift in perception, a change in how we see ourselves and the world around us. The world is as it is, with all its unpredictability, its challenges, its beauty, and its chaos. We cannot control it. We cannot make it behave the way we want. But we can change how we relate to it. We can change the way we view the very circumstances that seem to be causing us pain. In Buddhism, perception is key. The way we see the world shapes our experience of it. When we view life through the lens of scarcity, of fear, of frustration, everything seems overwhelming. We see only problems, obstacles, and things that need to be fixed. But when we shift our perception, when we learn to see things as they truly are, not as we fear them to be, not as we wish them to be, life begins to change. It may look the same on the surface, but our response to it transforms completely. The real shift happens when we begin to understand that peace does not depend on changing the external circumstances of our lives. It doesn't depend on getting the promotion, finding the perfect relationship, or moving to the ideal place. These things, while they may bring temporary joy or satisfaction, are not the true sources of peace. Real peace comes from within, from the way we meet life, not with resistance, but with acceptance. Acceptance does not mean passivity. It does not mean we simply sit back and let life happen to us. It means that we stop fighting the reality of what is. We stop resisting the present moment, believing that it must be different in order to be okay. We let go of the belief that we must first change ourselves, our circumstances, or the world in order to feel at peace. This belief is what keeps us trapped in the cycle of striving, of never feeling content, of always seeking something better. But when we let go of this belief, we open ourselves to the freedom of simply being. Imagine for a moment that life is not something you need to control or fix. Imagine that the way things are right now, this moment, as imperfect as it may seem, is enough. Imagine the freedom that comes from accepting the present just as it is, without judgment, without the need to change anything. When we shift our perception in this way, we open ourselves to a peace that is deeper than anything external can provide. This peace is not dependent on the world conforming to our desires. It is a peace that arises simply from meeting life with full awareness, with full acceptance. The power of this shift is profound. It doesn't require us to change our circumstances or force ourselves into some ideal version of ourselves. It simply asks us to change the way we view what is already here. It asks us to stop chasing peace and to start recognizing it where we are. Life, with all its messiness, its chaos, and its imperfections, is the very thing that can bring us peace. When we stop fighting against it, we begin to experience its inherent beauty, its lessons, and its opportunities for growth. To begin this shift in perception, try this simple exercise. The next time you find yourself overwhelmed or frustrated by your circumstances, take a moment to pause. Breathe deeply and notice what you're feeling. Acknowledge it without judgment. Instead of thinking, "This shouldn't be happening," or "I need to fix this," ask yourself, "What is this situation teaching me? What can I learn from this moment?" Allow yourself to see the situation with fresh eyes. Don't focus on how it should be different. Just experience it as it is. This practice of mindfulness will gradually help you shift your perception, allowing you to meet each moment with a sense of peace, no matter how chaotic it may seem. Another exercise is to focus on what you can control in the present moment: your breath, your response, your attitude. Remind yourself that you are not powerless in this moment. Even if you can't control the circumstances, you can always choose how to respond to them. This simple shift from external control to internal acceptance creates a sense of freedom and peace that transcends circumstances. As you begin to practice shifting your perception in everyday situations, you will notice that your experience of life begins to change. The things that once felt overwhelming or frustrating will no longer have the same hold over you. You will begin to see them not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth, for peace, and for deeper understanding. When we stop demanding that life be different and simply allow it to unfold, we experience a profound sense of freedom. Peace is not in waiting for life to change, but in accepting life as it is. It is in this acceptance that we find the deepest peace, the peace that does not depend on circumstances, but on how we relate to them. This is the freedom that Buddhism teaches us to embrace, a freedom rooted not in change, but in presence. And it is through this presence that we find the peace we have always been seeking. Part 9. The role of service in finding meaning. We often think of purpose and meaning as grand, monumental achievements. We envision ourselves accomplishing great feats, writing a best-selling book, starting a successful business, traveling the world. We place these milestones on a pedestal, believing that only through such achievements can we find fulfillment. But what if the true meaning of life is not found in the big, flashy moments, but in the quiet, humble acts of service we offer to others every day? What if it is through helping others that we unlock our deepest potential for personal growth and true happiness? In Buddhism, the path to enlightenment is not a solitary journey. It is a journey of service. The Bodhisattva, a being who has attained enlightenment, chooses to remain in the cycle of life, not for personal gain, but to serve others. The Bodhisattva embodies selfless compassion, dedicating their life to helping others reach enlightenment. This act of serving, of giving without expectation of reward, is considered one of the highest callings in Buddhism. It is through this service to others that we find true meaning, not by seeking external recognition or validation, but by offering our love, our care, and our energy to the world. The path of the Bodhisattva teaches us a powerful lesson, that the act of giving is not just for the benefit of others, but for our own spiritual growth as well. When we serve, when we help, when we give without expecting anything in return, we step out of the ego-driven mindset that constantly seeks personal gain. We transcend the boundaries of self-interest and open our hearts to the interconnectedness of all beings. In serving others, we learn to let go of our attachments, our fears, and our desires. We realize that true fulfillment does not come from what we accumulate for ourselves, but from what we are able to give to others. In our daily lives, service does not always have to come in the form of grand gestures or large acts of charity. Service can be as simple as holding the door open for someone, offering a listening ear to a friend in need, or cooking a meal for a loved one. These quiet acts of service, though they may seem small, have an enormous impact. They create a ripple effect, spreading kindness, compassion, and love in ways we may never fully understand. In giving to others, We create a sense of meaning and fulfillment that transcends material success or external recognition. What is so powerful about these small moments of service is that they do not require validation. We do not need applause, rewards, or even acknowledgement for them to be meaningful. The value of helping others lies not in how others perceive it, but in the intention behind it. When we serve with pure intentions, without the need for recognition or reward, we experience a sense of inner peace and satisfaction that cannot be found in any material possession or external achievement. The simple act of doing something kind for another person creates a deep sense of fulfillment that nourishes the soul. It reminds us that life is not about what we can get, but about what we can give. Think about the last time you did something kind for someone else, even if it was a small, seemingly insignificant act. Perhaps you smiled at a stranger, offered a word of encouragement, or helped someone with a task. How did that feel? Likely, it brought you a sense of warmth, a quiet sense of joy. These moments may seem small, but they are the building blocks of a meaningful life. They remind us that we are all part of something much larger than ourselves. Our actions, no matter how small, have the power to affect the world around us in profound ways. To put this into practice, take a moment to engage in a random act of kindness today. It can be something as simple as paying for someone's coffee, helping a colleague with a task, or offering a genuine compliment to someone who might need it. Don't do it for recognition. Don't do it for anything in return. Just do it because it feels right, because it's part of who you are. In that moment, let go of the need for validation. Let the act of giving become its own reward. Notice how it makes you feel. Let that feeling of fulfillment and connection remind you that meaning is not something you chase or achieve. It is something you create through your actions, through your service to others. When we learn to embrace service as a path to meaning, we begin to see the world in a different light. We stop focusing on what we lack or what we need to gain, and we start focusing on how we can give. We begin to understand that our lives are not defined by our possessions or accomplishments, but by the love and care we offer to those around us. It is through serving others, no matter how big or small the act, that we unlock the true meaning of life. Service is not a burden, it is a gift, both to those we help and to ourselves. It is through this gift of service that we discover the deepest sense of fulfillment, the kind of fulfillment that comes from knowing that, in some small way, we have made the world a better place. This is the power of service. It is not in what we do, but in the love with which we do it. It is not in seeking recognition, but in knowing that every act of kindness, no matter how small, is a step toward a more meaningful life. And when we live with that understanding, we create a world filled with compassion, connection, and true fulfillment. Part 10. Returning to the self, the final awakening. There comes a point in every journey where we begin to understand the truth we've been searching for all along. The key to peace, to fulfillment, and to true freedom lies not in becoming someone else, but in finally returning to who we already are. This journey of self-acceptance and trust is not one we arrive at after conquering mountains or achieving external goals, but rather one we reach by letting go of the need to become perfect. It's a journey inward, to the deepest part of ourselves, where we realize that everything we've been seeking has always been here, within us. Buddhism offers us profound insight into the nature of self-realization. It teaches us that we are already whole, already complete. We don't need to chase after some idealized version of ourselves, nor do we need to prove our worth. We've been conditioned to believe that perfection is the ultimate goal, that if we could just become better versions of ourselves, smarter, more successful, more enlightened, then we would finally be worthy of love, acceptance, and peace. But the truth is that the pursuit of perfection is the very thing that keeps us from experiencing the peace we so deeply desire. In Buddhism, the realization that we are already complete is the ultimate awakening. It is not about fixing ourselves, but about recognizing that there is nothing broken in the first place. To fully embrace this truth, we must let go of the pursuit of perfection. We must stop comparing ourselves to others, stop holding ourselves to impossible standards, and stop believing that our worth is conditional upon our achievements. Our flaws, our imperfections, are not burdens we must bear. They are part of what makes us whole. The more we embrace all of ourselves, the light and the shadow, the successes and the failures, the more we realize that perfection is a myth. There is no perfect self to attain. There is only the truth of who we already are. And in this truth, we find the freedom to simply be. The process of awakening is not about attaining some ideal state of being. It is about being fully present with what is, as it is. This is where Buddhism's practice of presence comes in. The path to self-realization lies in the practice of being fully present, of showing up for our lives exactly as they are, without trying to escape, fix, or control anything. In each moment, we have the opportunity to reconnect with ourselves, not as the perfect version we imagine ourselves to be, but as the real, imperfect, beautiful version of ourselves that we are right now. When we stop looking outside ourselves for validation and start turning inward, we awaken to the truth that our peace has never depended on anything external. It has always been within us, waiting to be uncovered. True awakening happens when we learn to be present, not just in the quiet, peaceful moments, but in the chaotic, messy, imperfect ones. It's easy to be present when everything is going well. But true presence comes when we can be fully engaged with life, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's challenging. When we can sit with our discomfort, our pain, and our fear without trying to escape it, we begin to awaken to something deeper within us. It's in these moments of presence that we begin to see life more clearly, not through the lens of judgment, not through the filter of our desires or expectations, but as it truly is. And in that seeing, we find freedom. The practice of being fully present is not something we do once and then forget about. It is an ongoing, daily practice, one that we cultivate moment by moment, breath by breath. It is a practice of returning to ourselves over and over again, no matter how many times we get distracted or lost. Every moment is an invitation to come back, to reconnect, to awaken to the reality of who we are right now. It's in this process of coming back to ourselves, of being fully present with our lives, that we experience the deepest form of awakening. To help integrate this practice into your life, take a moment to engage in a meditative walk or mindful sitting. Find a quiet space where you can sit or walk undisturbed. As you sit, close your eyes and bring your attention to your breath. Notice the rise and fall of your chest with each inhale and exhale. Allow yourself to simply be with the sensation of your breath without trying to change it or control it. When your mind starts to wander, gently bring it back to the sensation of the breath. If you're walking, pay attention to the sensation of your feet on the ground, the movement of your body, and the rhythm of your steps. Stay with the experience of walking, being fully present in each moment. As you practice this mindfulness, remind yourself that you are already whole. You do not need to become anything else to be worthy of peace and love. You are already enough just as you are. Let go of the belief that you must improve, perfect, or change in order to find happiness. You are perfect in your imperfection. This is the awakening, the realization that there is nothing you need to attain, nothing you need to change, but only the simple act of being present with yourself, exactly as you are. Awakening through presence is not about seeking some grand revelation. It is about finding peace in the simplest moments. It is about realizing that true peace doesn't come from external circumstances. It comes from the acceptance of what is. When we stop running from ourselves and start living fully in the present, we awaken to the truth that we have been whole all along. The final awakening is not about becoming someone else, but about returning to the person you already are. It is about trusting yourself, embracing all of who you are, and allowing that truth to guide you toward peace. And in this peace, you will find the freedom to live your life fully, without needing anything else to complete you. The journey we've taken together, exploring the profound teachings of Buddhist wisdom and the search for peace within the chaos of modern life, has brought us face to face with a deep truth, that the key to true fulfillment does not lie in the pursuit of perfection or in constantly striving for external validation. Instead, it is found in the acceptance of ourselves as we are right now, in the present moment, and in recognizing the power of stillness, service, and our innate connection to everything around us. Throughout this exploration, we have uncovered how the fast-paced nature of modern life often leaves us feeling disconnected from our true selves. We've been taught that success, wealth, status, and achievement are the benchmarks of a meaningful life. But in chasing these external measures, we often overlook the simple truth that real peace, real happiness comes from within. It is not about becoming someone else, but about fully embracing who we are right now. It is in the stillness of the present moment that we begin to understand that we are already whole, that we do not need to improve or change in order to be worthy of love, peace, or fulfillment. We have learned that the feelings of being lost, of feeling like we are constantly behind, are illusions. These feelings arise from a mindset of comparison and the belief that we must meet external expectations to be validated. But Buddhism teaches us that we are never lost, that every step of our journey is meaningful, and that life unfolds precisely when we are ready. The experiences we go through, even those that seem like setbacks or delays, are precisely what we need to prepare us for the next phase of our journey. Our actions, thoughts, and intentions, our karma, shape our path, not as a punishment but as a guide, pushing us toward the lessons we need to learn and the growth we need to experience. The power of stillness, which we've discussed, holds a transformative lesson. In a world that demands constant movement, stillness may seem like a luxury we can't afford, but it is in these quiet moments of reflection and mindfulness that we connect deeply with ourselves, with our true essence. Stillness is not a retreat from life. It is an invitation to be fully present in each moment, to accept what is, without the need to change anything. When we embrace stillness, we find that the peace we seek does not come from outside circumstances, but from within. It is only in the pause, in the acceptance of the present moment, that we can experience the true peace that transcends any external achievement. We also explored the deep lesson of loneliness, which, like stillness, is often misunderstood in modern society. We tend to view loneliness as a failure, a sign that something is wrong with us. Yet, loneliness, when embraced as solitude, can be a profound opportunity for self-discovery. Buddhism teaches that in solitude, we find our deepest connection to ourselves. By sitting with our loneliness, we can hear our own voice more clearly, without the noise of the world and the expectations of others. Solitude is not a curse, but a gift, a space for reflection, growth, and a deeper understanding of who we are beyond the roles we play in the world. In the silence of loneliness, we can uncover the peace and wisdom that resides within us, waiting to be acknowledged. As we move through the lessons of patience and acceptance, we learn that the disruptions and delays we often face in life are not obstacles, but invitations. When things don't go according to plan, it is easy to feel frustrated, lost, or out of control. But in fact, these delays are essential to our growth. They give us the space we need to pause, reflect, and prepare ourselves for what's next. The Buddhist practice of patience teaches us that life unfolds at its own pace, and that we cannot rush or force it. The delays and disruptions are not punishments, they are gifts, allowing us to realign ourselves, to reevaluate our paths, and to be better prepared for the next stage of our journey. By embracing the timing of life, we can let go of the need to control everything, and instead flow with life's natural rhythm. Throughout this journey, we also encountered the importance of service in finding meaning. In a world that glorifies individual success, it is easy to forget that the true path to fulfillment lies in serving others. Buddhism teaches that selflessness, compassion, and the act of giving without expectation are the keys to real meaning and fulfillment. When we shift our focus from what we can gain to what we can give, we move beyond the limitations of the ego and step into the interconnectedness of all beings. Service, whether through small acts of kindness or larger gestures of compassion, allows us to experience the deepest sense of purpose. The more we give, the more we receive, not in material terms but in emotional and spiritual growth. Service helps us transcend our individual concerns and tap into the shared humanity that unites us all. Finally, the culmination of our journey brings us to the profound realization that everything we have been searching for, peace, happiness, fulfillment, was always within us, waiting to be uncovered. Through the teachings of Buddhism, we've learned that the key to peace does not lie in external achievements or circumstances. It lies in our ability to be fully present, to accept ourselves as we are, and to trust that life is unfolding precisely as it should. When we stop chasing perfection, when we stop running from ourselves, we awaken to the truth that we are already whole. This final awakening is not about becoming someone else, but about returning to the self we have always been. This journey has shown us that we do not need to search for peace in the future or in some distant achievement. It is already here in the present moment, in the acceptance of who we are, imperfections and all. It is in the stillness, in the service to others, and in the willingness to embrace the imperfection of life that we find true meaning. This understanding is not just a concept to be learned, but a practice to be lived. The more we apply these teachings to our lives, the more we awaken to the profound peace that resides within us. The ultimate lesson of this journey is that peace and fulfillment do not come from the outside. They come from within, from the acceptance of ourselves, from our willingness to be present, and from our ability to embrace life as it is. By letting go of the pursuit of perfection, by embracing our imperfections, and by serving others, we unlock the deeper meaning of life. The key to true peace lies not in achieving something more, but in realizing that we are already enough. Reflection: how do you perceive your life right now? Do you find yourself chasing a version of yourself that you think you should be, or can you embrace who you are today? How can you shift your focus from external achievements to internal peace? I invite you to share your thoughts, reflections, and experiences in the comments below. Let's learn from each other and continue this journey together. And if this content has resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe to Buddhism in every moment. Your support will help us continue to create meaningful content that inspires and empowers. Together, we can walk this path of self-discovery and peace.